I released a major update for my indie game that significantly improved the frame rate, save system, added achievements, and even added a new game mode just for speedrunning. This is the first major update that my game has gotten in only 8 months. Oh boy. We all know how hard releasing a game is. Game developers, large and small, never really shut up about it. But I'm not here to talk about that, because I already did that in a previous video, so make sure to go watch that too. I am here to vent about something much, much pettier. Releasing an update. When it comes to my indie game Where's My Lunch, it's a linear story with no achievements, one game mode, a lot of bugs, performance issues, and pretty much no replay value. Until now. So with all that considered, I figured this was a pretty good game to speedrun. Speaking of speedrunning, let's see who can get the world record for liking this video the fastest. Go. Do it right now. Do it now. Yeah, well, if you didn't by now, it's probably too late, so. But I mean, better late than never. So while I was working on this update, I also thought that the main menu could use some spicing up a little bit, especially the navigation. So instead of clicking your save slot and then immediately getting loaded to the checkpoint, I added a little level selector to it. Here you can continue to your last checkpoint, or you could go and replay any level that you already unlocked. This is great because after you beat the game, or really any level, you can replay it as many times as you want without having to lose your progress. So now that the menu had a nice little upgrade going, I added another slot just for speedrunning. All it is the regular game from the beginning, but it displays a clock that will not stop until you beat the game. And when you beat the final boss, the clock stops, and then you go to a designated screen that shows you your current time that you just got, and then your best time. And, you know, a little new record thing if you beat it. And by the way, that endless hallway right there kind of made me feel like a certified genius because I programmed that first try. I know. Thank you guys. You know, I love you too. Thank you. The goal of this was to build an easy, beginner-friendly way to speedrun my game. And also, the clock doesn't stop when you pause it because pausing during a speedrun is cheating. Hot take. Now, admittedly, this isn't a whole lot of content added, but I think this is a nice little addition to add some replay value, you know? Let me know in the comments what you think of this speedrun game mode. Do you speedrun games ever? Are you going to try it now? Let me know in the comments. Unless you pause during a speedrun, then definitely don't leave a comment. Hot take. Another thing that should have been in the game the whole time, but I'm adding it now, is achievements. I added some achievements to incentivize the player to explore the game's potential a little bit. For example, in my game, you can drop soap on the ground and then zombies can slip behind you. And they can make them slip into a wall, into a rake, into a trap of some sort, or even maybe just to slow them down. So I added an achievement called Ultra Combo to get the zombie to slip on soap and into a rake. Because after the soap is introduced, you never really have to use it. I kind of made the game that way where you don't really have to use any single thing. But yeah, you can just use it once and then forget about it for the rest of your experience. It's just another part of the arsenal that's always there, but never really forced. So, you know, I want people to use it at least once, so maybe this achievement will help them do that, and hopefully they'll be like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. I also added achievements for stuff like beating a level or doing something within one level. For example, there's an achievement called Genocide, which you have to kill every enemy in the game. This is actually like pretty brutal now that I'm saying this out loud. And even though the achievements are connected through Steam, I also made this little pop-up in-game, you know, not connected to Steam that tells you if you got an achievement, you know, in case they're not connected to the internet or something. And it's real cute, so that's a thing I did. And it also lets you know about achievements in progress. Like, for example, I have one about collecting these secret little bagels that are hidden around the map. So it'll tell you, oh, you collected this bagel, you're 4 out of 10 the way through, you know? So for the game to run at an optimal frame rate, there was really only one problem child. The other levels just needed some corners cut in some places, some optimization here and there, mostly just removing unused content from the game for them to run at well above 60 frames per second, but there was one level that was running at a measly 24 frames a second. The outdoor level. This level definitely has the most going on visually, mostly because there's no walls, it's completely open. Which is great because new enemies are introduced, and so the space gives you a lot of room to work around and be able to do a lot more. But that also means that everything has to be rendered all at once, so naturally this is the most performance-sucking part of the game. So to fix this, I added more props to the level. Let me explain. So basically, as a performance measure, Unity does this thing called frustum and occlusion culling. I know, big vocab words. Basically, all it means is that it doesn't render things that aren't visible to the camera, either being blocked by something else or it's just behind the camera not being viewed. So what I did was I added a bunch of trees to the scene so that it'll block a bunch of stuff that is far away, like the houses in the background, so that they won't be rendered. But when I did that, there was little spots between the trees where you could still see the houses, thus it would still have to render the whole house just for that little sliver. So it really didn't do a whole lot. In fact, it just added a bunch more trees to render on top of that. So if I try to add little trees for every little spot that I can see it, then we'll just circle back to the same problem of having too many things to render. So to fix this, I jumped into Blender and I made a render of as many trees as I possibly could, trying to cover up every little spot. Then I exported that render into a single image that has all of the trees in it. And then I placed that image into the scene to create the illusion of a deep forest, when really it's just a flat image. And then to complete this little illusion, I just left like trees 5 or 6 deep so that it has some depth to it if you're close up. So now that I have this, the flat image is way easier to render than a bunch of 3D objects, so it really reduced the rendering cost. And also, I don't know how I dismissed this when it launched, but without the trees, the environment is so empty. So I honestly don't know how I thought this was okay, but now I love the level. I think it looks great. And then as an even extra measure, because everything's blocked, I just completely disable them if the player doesn't reach a checkpoint. And then as an extra measure, once the player makes it halfway through the level, I just delete everything that's behind them because they're not going to be able to go back and see it anyway. Then just to make the experience a little bit better for the level, I just added a little cutscene for them to just teleport to the next part instead of having to walk along that whole track. You know, that's probably real boring for them. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, Where's My Lunch is on sale right now, so make sure to go check that out. I even added a ton of cool graphical assets to the Steam page just for you, so don't let it go to waste. And while you're at it, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.